Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Horror Huddle. I'm Stacey-Beth. We've got Ash.
Howdy.
And our guest for tonight is my husband, Adam.
Hello, everybody.
And so tonight we're doing our last Halloween edition episode.
It is our Halloween episode right here.
Yeah, for the month of October. Won't be our last episode of Horror Huddle, but definitely for the Halloween edition. And of course, we decided we wanted to do Halloween 1, 2, and 3. Had to do 3 because that's my fucking favorite. But we're just going to get right into it, and we're going to start off with Halloween, 1978's Halloween, the freaking classic. Got to bring that out.
Heck yeah.
Of course.
We've got the box set.
Yeah, I got a poster right over there.
somewhere hidden away where we can't see it. But
Halloween, which is still probably my favorite of the Halloween movies. The first one, John Carpenter, who I love in almost everything that he does. Escape from New York thing. He tells a story of a killer that's just coming through and killing what is kind of babysitters, which, if anybody knows, originally was supposed to be called the Babysitter Murders. And they turned it to Halloween because they figured they could capitalize on Halloween and set it over, instead of a couple days, they could set it over one night, which is Halloween. And you have a mass murderer that is just going around and killing these people randomly, and you don't really know why.
how does he start that, though?
He starts with...
His sister. In the beginning.
Oh, he started, yeah, the whole thing...
POV shot.
Sorry, the whole thing starts with the greatest, POV shot, where you see, and as the POV is coming through, you see this, like, random arm with what becomes a clown outfit going through, and it grabs a knife, and you see him go up, and it kind of starts the whole idea of teenagers have sex, teenagers die. And you see this great POV shot of grabbing the knife, going up the stairs, the boyfriend leaving after a really quick tryst.
Yeah.
And
Well, they are teenagers. Yeah.
yeah, true.
But that was like 20 seconds.
Yeah, I mean,
and he
that
was
was-
like, he didn't even like spend time to like cuddle. He just like was like, bye, bitch, and like took off. Didn't even have his jacket on. Like,
It's like 3 thrusts, a tug, and he walks away.
Yeah. And he goes up, you see him go up the stairs, and you see him start stabbing who is his sister, and then walks back down as the parents come home.
and that
Well,
iconic
that was the
scene.
great thing
Yeah.
about that scene. You didn't know that until the big reveal after the killing's done. That
Great reveal.
it's his sister, and he's like a little boy.
Like
Yeah.
I think what, like 6 years old, 7 years old.
About
Or
that, yeah.
7? Yeah.
And it's mom and dad's like, Michael takes off the mask and like, and then you just see him with the knife just, and you're like, oh.
Fast forward 15 years, and then you get what becomes Halloween.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which I was like, man, he was a big dude for only being like. Someone said, like, Wikipedia says he was 21, and IMDb says he was 23. So, but it was 15 years between the murder of his sister and when he
Yeah,
escaped.
because it happened in 1963 was the murder.
And so
And how old was Laurie Strode in the movie?
she had to have been 17. They never really said it, but she had to have been about 16, 17 years old.
Which is funny because if you fast forward into what we find out in Halloween 2,
Yeah.
now I'm realizing it really makes no sense because she's 2 years older than him.
No, she was 2 when he was.
Yeah. She was younger than him.
Oh, I thought.
She was only 2 when he killed his sister.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, she was younger than him.
So she would be what? About 5 years
And she'd be
younger.
17.
Yeah.
So she'd be a senior in high school.
Okay.
So then about 5 years older, that makes 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Basically between 21 and 23 years old. This movie was made on a budget of $300,000, and I think it ended up grossing $47 million.
Yeah, and because it was so well done.
Yeah.
You can't
Oh, like my favorite thing.
tell by watching it that was made on such a small.
My favorite thing is I recently, like maybe a couple months ago, somebody had posted on YouTube. I guess back then when it came out in theaters, someone had filmed the audience reaction to the scene when she thought she's already killed him in the closet, and she's like all just like exhausted in the doorway, and you see him get up, and everybody like like screaming in the theater, and I'm just like, this is the fucking coolest thing in the world. Nobody would ever do that anymore, you know?
And that's why a lot of people call this the granddaddy of slashers, and it's just so well done because like now slashers, tons of gore.
We're gonna have to do a slasher episode because honestly, one of the original slashers was Mario Bava's Bay of Blood. So, but anyways.
But I think it's because Carpenter didn't rely on like a really graphic kills. It was mostly just like the first intro. It's a steady shot. It's slow. It's building, and it just leaves red in the audience to the point where when it finally does happen, people are jumping out of their seats.
Yeah, and it, well, of course, and we all know, just to get back to this really quickly, the stars of the movie: Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis, PJ Souls as one of the slutty friends, of course. And I have to bring up that one of the kids that I think, what was the name, Annie, was watching the young girl. She was played by Kyle Richards, who is now one of the Beverly Hills housewives. So it's kind of amazing, and I love it.
You know, talk about Halloween stuff going totally.
And Ash sent me something earlier saying totally in a picture, and I go, yeah, I was commenting to Adam about just the way they were talking, and you know, when the other babysitter was talking to Lori on the phone, and to her boyfriend, and she's like, utterly fabulous, and I'm like, no fucking teenager talks like that now. Like, oh, your parents aren't home, so we can screw utterly fabulous. Like, nobody says that, you know.
Which also, what's funny too about the Housewives connection is that Kyle Richards' sister Kim Richards is in Carpenter's Assault on Precinct 13. She's the little girl that gets offed.
Yeah, and everybody would probably know her from Escape from Witch Mountain, or she was in both of those movies. She was the little blonde girl.
Witch Mountain 1.
Yeah. But sorry, I'm just looking at my notes real quick. I'm like my chicken scratch. But yeah, so everybody knows the iconic mask. William Shatner. I think they got it for like $2, and that William Shatner didn't even know that they were using his likeness because they messed with the face. They teased the hair. They cut the eye holes out more. Yeah, they did a whole bunch of stuff until somebody, I think, in an interview brought it up to him, and he was like, "Wow!" And now he like thinks it's like an honor to like have had his likeness used for.
I really like that my mask was used in those films.
Another great quick little snippet is I listened to Sam Raimi on the Nerdist podcast a couple months ago, and he talks about trying to fund his first movie, and the person that was going to fund his first movie said, because he wanted to make a comedy, and they said, you need to make a horror movie, and he was like, I've never seen a horror movie before, and so they said, well, go this weekend, go see a horror movie, and he went to the theater to see Halloween.
Good choice.
And he came back and said, I can't make a horror movie because that movie is genius, and I'm not that good of a director.
That's what I said. Here, go see Night of the Lepus. It would have been definitely different. It was like giant killer bunnies.
Awesome.
Yeah, like, wait a minute.
I'm in. I could do better than that. When Adam and I, so of course, you know, to catch up, we watched all three yesterday, and we decided, we're like, you know what, we've seen Halloween a million times over. You know what, let's watch it with a commentary with Carpenter and Jamie Lee Curtis. We got about 15 minutes in before we said, just go back to the movie. It was kind of an annoying commentary. Because I got a little, just because they were constantly kind of bickering, and she was like, oh, yeah, I remember this happened. He goes, no. She's like, no, I know this happened. No, hold on. He's like, no, it didn't happen yet in this scene. No, hold on. And it was kind of like back and forth.
You see, that's on her, because
no. And then on his end, she'd be like, do you remember who was over there? And he goes, no, like he couldn't remember anything. And he did, like, I don't even remember that. I don't even remember this happening. I don't even remember them being there.
That must be just that dynamic, because I've listened to some commentary with John Carpenter, big one, which is Big Trouble in Little China, was awesome. Him and Kurt Russell were hilarious in the comedy.
There's just, I mean, maybe I'll listen to it again full through, but just for the sake of, like, kind of for our episode, I was like, I can't listen to this. I'm getting, obviously that's the whole point, is you're just listening to them. You're not really watching the movie. Yeah. They just got a little on my nerves of, like, the constant weird bickering, and they just weren't kind of meshing well at that point. Maybe later on they did. Maybe they got a little comfortable with each other, but it's like, it was just like, she was, no, I'm right. Nope, I don't even remember this, you know. Like,
now, How much was the budget for the movie again? Because I
300,000.
looking at the making of documentary, they made one or two of them. They said a lot of that went to Donald Pleasance, just like, we need you in the movie. He's like, okay.
Well, and you were saying, who was Carpenter planning to have or wanted to have on?
He wanted either Christopher Lee or
Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing. And Christopher Lee in an interview one time said his biggest regret in movies is that he didn't take.
Yeah, he wanted them for Dr. Loomis.
Yeah, he didn't take the Loomis character, and that's one of his biggest regrets. So.
Well, but that's hindsight's 2020. I mean,
do you think that? I mean, obviously, it would have changed the entire dynamic of the film.
Oh, it would have, because Christopher Lee, every single character he's ever done is fairly dark and just kind of like a
dramatic, and like I'm kind of glad that they stuck with Donald Pleasance. Like I'm glad that
Donald Pleasance is a very great dramatic actor. He's been in tons of good movies.
I mean, what was the scene that we were talking about when he was?
Yeah, he definitely brought the right stuff to the role, because yes, he is a kind of mad, kind of crazy guy thinking, dude, I've spent my life documenting this killer, and now I'm
that role you've seen so many times over in other films of someone who just gets so deep and so hell-bent into catching this person that they kind of themselves become a little crazy. But
yeah, but also Donald Pleasance did bring kind of some niceness to the role, like the scene where the 2 or 3 kids were daring one kid to go up on the porch of the Myers house, and he's sitting in the bushes, and he's like, I don't want the kids near there because he might show up. So he's like, hey, Billy, get your ass off of there! Kid runs off scared, and he's like,
just that look of satisfaction on his face was great. Like, there's that smug, like, aha, fuckers scared of.
Yeah.
And then he gets scared himself.
But to be fair, Donald Pleasance, when he took the role originally, he was kind of like, this is just kind of a lot of amateurs doing their thing. That's great. But I've been in bigger films. I don't know if it's going to pan out. It was only after it became big, he's like,
yeah.
He was quoted later on saying, how many more movies will I do? Like 48 more.
Yeah. And I read that initially, Jamie Lee Curtis was like she thought she was going to be fired after the first day of filming because she thought she did terrible. And then later that night she got a call from Carpenter and was like, you did fantastic. I want to congratulate you. And other than that,
she is one of my top 5 scream queens. She's one of the best final girls ever.
You say the term final girl, scream queen, you automatically think of her. And it's kind of, and so no wonder they put her as one of the lead roles in Scream Queens. She's kind of amazing in that. I already forgot what I was going to say for one of the other points, but that's okay.
But yeah, I guess that leads us to the second movie, and of course, we just spoiled the ending. She was the final girl of the original movie.
Second movie, of course, gotta bust that one out too. Yay!
Yes, and you need to give me the dates and the director. I can't remember.
1981, director was Rick Rosenthal.
Okay, and basically, it's a continuation of the first movie.
But I believe Halloween 2, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, his girlfriend at the time, wrote it.
Yeah. And it's straight up continuation. I mean, literally, there's no step between the end of the first one and the beginning of the second one. Basically, Laurie survives. Michael falls off a balcony, disappears. She gets taken to the hospital, and basically the movie pretty much cuts between her in the hospital and Michael trying to get to the hospital, kill her, and then Loomis going around town trying to find Michael.
Yeah.
Basically, that's the main premise of it. It's a pretty good movie. I noticed that with a change of directors, the tone shifted a bit. While Carpenter put a lot of just kind of suspenseful moments leading to kind of scary kills, but not really graphic. This one instead has less suspense and more of a payoff of, and you see a lot more. I mean, I think the first movie, you don't really see blood.
Yeah.
This has a bit of it, not over the top.
If any, you don't at all in the first one.
You see,
because we've got Annie getting strangled.
The girl in the car, you see the knife. You don't
see was it Linda or oh my God, we're terrible Halloween fans. We don't even know their names because they're expendable.
Well, yeah,
Stephen Soul's character gets strangled as well. The boyfriend gets stabbed. You don't see.
Yeah, you don't see it.
Like when Michael comes in wearing the sheet, there's not even a knife in it. Did he just go and get a new fresh sheet?
And then cut a few holes in it and just put on the glasses. Like,
yeah, I'm like,
that's dedication, man.
He's like, hold on.
There were some scenes in the 2 I didn't think kind of fit, like when the girl is getting out of the hot tub and everything, and he goes up behind her, she grabs his hand, just kind of, he's doing this, and I was like, what the hell, why aren't you killing
like, ugh, me and Adam were just like, that's
The hot tub scene is still my favorite scene, just because.
Oh, look, put her head in
she's
it.
going to
Yeah.
be at Texas Frightmare weekend.
Really?
Her, the guy that was in the hydrotherapy with her, and the good Jimmy, the good paramedic,
well,
is going to be there as well.
I can't think about him without thinking of what was it, The Last Starfighter.
He was in that. Yeah.
So yeah, basically it's a sequel. It's
It's a money
okay.
grab.
And it was I think
Yeah, it was cash grab. It was.
for that one the budget was $2.5 million. I think it grossed $25 million.
And again, you can tell how much a good director can really change a movie. First movie, little budget, awesome movie, great visually. Second movie, much larger budget, and it kind of looks bleh. I mean, again, I'm not saying it's a horrible movie. It does push the story along. It does introduce the fact that, spoiler alert, Michael is Laurie Strode's brother.
Yes, the
Right, so when
nurse, Marion Chambers, I think was the nurse's name, revealed. And I don't recall, but is she the original nurse from the first one? Okay,
Yes, she was.
She informs Loomis that, oh, by the way, apparently,
The secret files.
how would Loomis, who had probably more access to the files than the nurse did,
Well, it was the scene that they were literally locked down. No one saw them. And he's like, I should have had access to it. I know everything. And she's like, no, the governor just unlocked them, and here's the truth.
Okay, yeah. So that's when he says, okay, we got to go back and get Laurie.
And that's honestly...
Also, the possible occult relation.
Yes, because there's a scene where Michael goes into...
Loomis is finding out that there might be something with...
And they see, like, handprints of blood, and they see on the wall, Samhain, and he's like, oh, Samhain.
Yeah, it definitely isn't one of my favorite ones. It's one of the ones that I put on and don't really pay much attention to. It's, like, fun, and it's kind of like... It gets more into the don't have sex, you'll die thing.
Yeah.
Don't be... If you're a scummy asshole, you're gonna die. It kind of...
also introduces the idea of hospitals in movies are always deserted for some reason. I'm like, dude, I've been to hospitals at like 4 a.m. and there's like 30 people in there easily. This one, there's like 5 people just walking
my mom and my stepdad both work at the damn hospital, and it's like, I don't think that's, at all.
Yeah, it's weird. But it did give a definitive ending to the Michael.
It did, because Michael died. Loomis sacrificed himself to kill Michael and save Laurie.
And no matter how definitive it gets, for some reason they kept on bringing him back with 4, 5, and 6.
Yes, which takes us into Halloween 3.
Wait, no, we're Halloween 3.
Oh, wait, no, we gotta hold on, because Ash wants to say something.
The other sequel that pretty much takes place after the first movie, only considers the first movie as canon, everything else didn't, which is Halloween H2O. Again, it's about on the same level as Halloween 2 for me. It's not
I remember when H2O came out, that was more like my generation when I was younger. And so, like, I remember getting the VHS and, like, watched it. I'm not kidding you, like, once a day for, like, 3 or 4 months. I was Josh Hartnett, and now I can't stand him. And, like, they were all big at the time. Like Michelle Williams and Dawson's
And basically, I think that came out in 98 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was like a big H2O. Halloween 20 years later, big, big happening. And basically what it takes the premise of, okay, Michael falls off the ledge at the end of the first movie, disappears. Now we're going to say that Loomis, instead of going into the events of the second ones, he takes Laurie, finds out eventually that she's Michael's sister, and decides he's going to find her eventually. We have to fake her death and give her a new identity so we'll never find her. 20 years later, guess what happens?
Of course he finds her.
By this time, she's a teacher at a school, has her own child, and she is definitely traumatized after the events of everything else.
She's like an alcoholic and
it almost gets to the point where she's like a germaphobe. She's like, I don't want to go outside. I don't want my kids to go outside because he might be out there and he might get us. And that I actually like that about the movie, which, again, the only reason why I didn't like part of the movie is the kids are unlikable. But then again, I think
of course the 2 annoying friends you knew were like just fodder.
Yeah, they're going to be body count eventually. But the only thing I really loved was the mother and son dynamic, even though I don't like the son's character that much.
Yeah.
Also, and then with Michael, then Laurie's relationship with Michael as the movie goes on, because basically it gets to the point where she goes from this kind of, oh, I don't want you to do this, I'm scared, I don't want you to do this, blah, blah, blah. She gets to the point where she's like, get the fuck out, I'm taking care of this.
Yeah.
And she literally goes after Michael.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a great kind of, a final girl turn. Because in the original movie, she didn't have much of a final girl turn, because final girls usually go from the timid, virgin to the badass that kills the bad guy.
Yeah. And I love the little cameo of Janet Leigh in H2O as she was like her secretary or something.
Yeah.
And everybody knows Janet Leigh was the shower girl and Marion Crane in Psycho, and when she was leaving for the week, or she was like leaving for the holiday, whatever, bye, she was getting into the car from Psycho. So I was like, that's kind of amazing. And of course, everybody knows that's Jamie Lee Curtis's mom.
And it's nice little homages to the first movie, like when Jamie Lee Curtis gets into the car and she turns on the radio and it's da 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 da.
Of course, now I remember the point I was going to bring up in Halloween 1 was that Carpenter cast Jamie Lee Curtis because he said it would be the ultimate homage to Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Having the daughter of Janet Leigh in there.
But, again, I'm going to do spoilers left and right here. Okay, the ending of this one. Why I think this one's the better definitive ending to the Michael character than the second one. Second one, he gets his eyes shot out and blown up, supposedly. Yeah. And burns to death. Okay, weak sauce. This one, she decapitates him.
There's no coming back from that shit.
Yes, and he was a very emotional moment because he's pinned against a tree and he kind of sticks his hand out and he's like,
and you were like, oh no, I feel kind of.
But she looks into his eyes, and then with that moment, I'm thinking, he has the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. Yeah. And she sees it and she's like.
And then she's remembering all other fucking friends he killed, you know, and.
Yeah, chops off his head, and that was the end. I'm sorry. Resurrection doesn't exist on my planet.
Y'all don't know resurrection is exactly what it sounds like, because you find out, I won't go too into it, you find out that was not Michael's head she chopped off, because why would it be? Why wouldn't that be the end?
It then doesn't make the whole ending make sense.
And they killed her off anyway. Resurrection.
The person, mostly dressed as Michael, be able to do everything that Michael usually does. Get up after being thrown through a windshield. Be thrown against a tree and then smashed with the van. And it's like
he would have died from that alone, probably.
Yeah, or he would have, at the very least, pulled off the mask. So, yeah, that doesn't make sense. So, H2O is my perfect ending.
Yes. So, we had our ending to 2 when he blows up, and that's supposed to be the end of him.
Yeah, and H2O in.
Mike Myers. That was it, and that was supposed to be, that's it, end all be all. He's done, he's dead, he blew up, can't come back from that. Right? So, of course, again, that takes us into Halloween 3, 1982, I believe, directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, which, of course, I gotta have the DVD and the VHS.
You didn't pull out the vinyl.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. The vinyl. We got the original vinyl. That's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that one is a fucking bizarre-ass movie. It's like 50-50, widely hated, widely loved. It's so weird. It's a total departure of the first two.
And that's where you either love it or hate it. If you go into it saying, this is a Michael Myers Halloween movie.
No, y'all never seen it. Anybody watching this, there is no Michael Myers in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. There is no Michael Myers at all. So just get over it now.
It's not even in the same universe.
And it's one of my favorite ones. So it's basically this, like, toy company mask producer, I don't know, called Silver Shamrock, is creating these... humming this song over here, makes these 3 masks, a pumpkin one, a witch one, and a skull one. And you're supposed to buy them so you can see the big giveaway on Halloween night after Halloween airs. You got to watch the commercial to see the big giveaway, which they never really reveal what the hell they're going to give away. They don't tell the kids.
Yeah.
You got to be like, wait a minute, hold on. How are you going to know I entered? Anyways, so yeah, there's like weird robotic men in suits, and there's Stonehenge involved because one of the giant pieces of Stonehenge is now missing from Stonehenge, and there's a drug doctor who is supposed to be, who basically has the fate of the world in his hands, and he's drunk all the time.
So let's bring up Stonehenge. Wouldn't it be hard to move it, let alone move it without anyone noticing? Hey, what the hell happened to one of these stones?
I don't fucking know.
Well, so that was in the beginning.
Yeah, in the news
Because
segment.
when the gas station attendant is watching the news, they're talking about how one of the stones went missing.
And they were like,
don't
this is like,
understand
just,
how.
we don't understand how.
Well, but think about how conspicuous that would be. It's like, it's not as if it's this little thing. It's like a 100,000-ton piece of block.
Well, it's witchcraft, right?
Well, that's actually one of the better, like towards the end when he's going through the factory and he sees Stonehenge for the first time. The head of the president of Silver Shamrock is just like, it says something about like, it was really difficult to get that stone over here, but that's another story. And that was it. It was just,
That was the only explanation.
I'd be like, wait, before you
just say,
you tell me what happens?
when I saw the brick for the first time, the piece of stone, I just was waiting for Spinal Tap to come out and start saying Stonehenge.
Yep.
Well, so this movie takes place over the course of the week before Halloween, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't. So one of the main guys that dies in the beginning is Ellie Grimbridge's father, right? And she ends up going to investigate this in Santa Mira, which is where Silver Shamrock headquarters are. And then somehow the doctor comes into it, but he's always carrying a six-pack with him. And then there's like just weird sex scenes, and all of a sudden they're like, he's got like his wife or his ex-wife and the kids, and the ex-wife is actually Annie's character from Halloween 1. It's not her character, it's the actress who played Annie, who got strangled in the car. She is the wife. She's the wife. And I could tell because when I heard her, like when he's like bitching at her on the phone, you can hear her, and I was like, that's her voice. And then you see her a little bit in the beginning. But yeah, so the whole point is that Cochran, who runs Silver Shamrock, is trying to kill all the kids in the world with these masks, presumably that all these kids in the entire world would own these masks and would have TV and would watch it at this exact time. Fuck time zones, right?
Yeah.
Fuck other sides of the world. Everybody's gonna. So it's like, okay, so is he just aiming at kids in North America, or what's he trying to do?
Yeah, and let's be honest.
And for
run a contest.
For reason, and this is his reasoning, is that it's the ultimate joke. It's the ultimate trick. Like,
It's to be on the kids.
Well, it also it's a sacrifice.
That's what he explains to Chalice, to Dr. Chalice, is that it's like the ultimate trick. Like, kill all the kids, and they turn into. They say they watch the commercial, and the chip in the back, the shamrock in the back of the mask, has a fragment of Stonehenge in it, and because it's a whole Celtic, Gaelic, witchcraft thing, that's supposed to the commercial is supposed to make it work and turn them into snakes and insects, which would then go and bite and sting the people around them and kill them.
Yeah.
I roll my eyes at it and I go, huh? But it's still one of my favorite ones because it's so fucking insane.
Well, and I think it's like if they only did the witchcraft part of it, that would have been one thing. But then the robots thing on top of it made it even more weird. It's like, wait, witches and robots?
It's also very confusing, but I don't know why. But I fucking love it, and I think I love it because we all know the song.
Yeah.
All know the song done in the London Bridge style. It's like happy Halloween, Halloween. Yeah, it's like it's kind of fantastic. I wish we had it to play right now, but
Actually, you do.
But it's I don't know. There's just so much weirdness of it. Like, and so and that's what threw everybody off, is that there was no Michael.
Here we go. Your phone? Where is it?
Oh, my phone's inside.
Okay, I have it on silent.
Oh, I put it on silent. Boo.
Yeah, it's a good film. But again, you have to go into it knowing this is not the Michael Myers story.
Yeah. And you should realize, if you've never seen it before, you'll realize it when there's a scene when Dr. Chalice, of course, is in a bar, and he's like, he changed the TV, and the bartender changes the TV, and it's showing a preview for Halloween, for the movie Halloween.
The classic, the horror classic,
the horror
which is
classic
like,
Halloween, which had only been released a couple years before.
yeah.
And of course it was like, be sure to tune in to Halloween, and afterwards stay around for the big giveaway, which was
At 9.
yeah, at 9. At 9.
Yeah, but another thing I loved about that movie, the main bad guy, the CEO, the evil boy. Yeah, he was the old man in RoboCop.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, he was the boss in RoboCop. That's like, yes, we need to make a robot that will kill criminals.
I feel like he's the only one in the movie that really took his job seriously.
I feel like Tom Atkins did, because let's talk about it, because this is some commitment to your role. The nipple sucking scene. There's a scene when like Ellie Grimbridge decides to just spend. She's got her own hotel room. He's got his own hotel room.
No, they had to share a hotel room.
Oh, they had to share one. Okay,
yeah.
That's how much I know, right? And then all of a sudden she's like wearing this really sexy like lingerie, and like she was planning this. And I'm like, Tom Atkins is not the sexiest dude in the world, ladies, but I love him. But so then they're like getting a little frisky, and takes her top off. You don't see any titties, I don't think.
No, I don't think
But he gets to her nips, and it's an overhead shot of it, and it's like he's there a little too long. So I'm like, oh my God, was he really sucking on that nipple? I bet he was. He's like, honey, it's for the role.
Yeah.
Just let me suck on the titty.
It was a very awkward sex scene because honestly, they had just kind of met each other, and it's like, dude, he's a alcoholic doctor.
And her dad just died.
Yeah.
They're going to find out why.
Okay, you're grieving and stuff, but she's like, I'm going to let this old doctor that smells probably of like Schlitz, and like, I'm going to let him suck on my titty for a little bit.
How about that? Well, there's the scene where he's walking around outside, and the drunk guy comes up and says, hey, give me a swig off that bottle. I don't have any diseases or whatever. And I'm like, what? That just happened.
I would have been like, okay, good. I'm glad you told me right off the bat. We're not fucking around here.
But I think that plus everything else just makes this movie so memorable, just because it's so out there on so many levels.
I mean,
kind of like
with the one woman, I think she was a shop owner, and she was staying as well at the hotel.
Yeah. And
she has the mask, and she's trying to puts around with the little silver shamrock in the back, and she's got a little bobby pin, and it's like a laser just like shoots into her mouth, and like fucks her all up, and you're just like, what the fuck like is happening in this movie? There's lasers, there's Stonehenge, there's witchcraft, there's robots,
titty sucking,
there's titty sucking. There's
another one where the hospital is empty. Nobody's in the hospital.
Oh my God, we were watching it, and like, the nurse found the dead dad, and it's like screaming, and he hears her, but he's like 5 turns away from the bed, from the hospital room. So I'm like, how did he know where she was? She never, like, she screamed, and then he was like, took a right, took a left, took another left, took a right, and then ended up at the hotel room, the hospital room.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did he know where the hell to go? Like, he just heard someone scream, and no one else was around. It was
movie logic. Movie logic is no matter
the hospitals.
Here's the screaming.
Were fucked up then.
I also like the fact in the beginning that after what we find out later is a robot assassinates the dad, finally, and goes outside and gets into the car, and he pours himself with gas and lights it, and then it's like a mini nuke went off, and the whole car just
blows up.
Explodes, and I'm like,
but again, that's movie logic. If a car ever gets on fire or is shot, it just magically just explodes like it has a stick of dynamite.
Maybe because he was a robot, maybe something inside of him exploded.
True. We tried.
Well, but they're filled with goo. Maybe the goo is actually like
Don't let me fool you. Don't let me fool you. This is still one of my favorite movies in the world.
Well, no, and again, we're not knocking as much as just saying how.
No, it's so fucking ridiculous. It's so fucking ridiculous.
And that's the charm.
Another like Tom's commitment to his character as the drunk thing is that after we find out the robots by him putting his fist through and opens them up, and there's this green goo, and then as Cochran is explaining things and about to take them off, there's a quick scene where he just pulls out a handkerchief And as he's talking, he starts wiping his hand off, but the goo won't come off. And then he just tosses the handkerchief on the floor as they walk away. And I was like, that's just an odd choice. Like, I don't know. That's a weird acting choice that they kept in the movie.
But yeah, that's just part of the overall charm of it. It's so weird and outlandish. It's so enjoyable to watch just for that reason.
Yeah.
And it seems like...
But again, that's what turned off so many people.
Yeah.
Because now it's like this thing that everybody... You realize how many people actually love it, you know? There's the... The Guest. The Adam Wingard movie, you know, all of a sudden they're in the background towards one of the final scenes.
Yeah.
Masks are up there, and it's got that whole 80s synth music vibe and stuff like that. It's just like, heck yeah, you know, people love that.
Yeah.
It's just one of those movies that you can't help but you're like, this is bad, but then you want to watch it again and watch it again and watch it again.
And again and again and again.
Yeah.
And it's kind of amazing. And I love it. But I guess that's about it for this episode, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Do you have anything else? It's almost time.
Yeah, it's almost time.
Almost time for the big giveaway.
Yeah, almost time for the big giveaway. So everyone, put on your masks.
Everyone, put on your masks and get ready. All right,
All right,
guys.
take care.
Bye.
Bye.